afternoon, my name is Andrea Rinaldi, and I'm going to talk to you about Andy Jackson. Who is Andy Jackson? Well, we all know that Andy Jackson was a president of the United States. To be specific, he's the 7th president of the United States. Andy Jackson served for 2 full terms, which made up to 4 years. Andy Jackson impacted U.S. history in many ways. It's up to you to decide whether he impacted in a good way or a bad way. He's mostly known for being a victorious soldier, a major general, and a Democratic Republican. For some people, Andy Jackson was definitely a hero, but not for me. Today, in this speech, we're going to talk about the biography, 4 main goals he did during his presidency, and the impact he made on American history. Well, let's start. His biography. Andy Jackson was born in a place called Waxhaw. That's an area between North and South Carolina. He was born March 5th, 1767, and he died on June 8th, 1845. Andy Jackson was raised in poverty. His family were low-class society, and he lived with his mother, Elizabeth, and his 2 brothers, Hub and Robert. He was the youngest of the 3 children, and Hub, they all served to the army, and the adolescents, they all went to the Continental Army while the American Revolution was going on. Hub unfortunately died during battle, and Robert and Jackson were imprisoned while they were in military service. Robert and Jackson both got smallpox, but then by the time they were released, Robert had died because of the smallpox. His mother, Elizabeth, also died because of disease. She was attending as a nurse while in battle. When he took presidency, he had 4 main goals. His first thing he wanted to do, he was very loud, and he drew to people very well. He knew what Americans wanted, not the high society class, but the lower class, mostly farmers, and people liked him a lot. When he took presidency, Washington was so crowded, it looked like if a king was about to be crowned or a pope was about to be settled into the Vatican. In his presidency, he had 4 main goals. The first one he did was to increase the power of executives. If he increases the power of the executives, that means that he has no one who can talk against him or his will. The first thing he did when he did the power of executives, he accomplished this by creating the spoils system. A spoils system basically consisted of you can put anyone in power in government, whoever you want, no matter social standing or if they're intelligent or not, if it's his most trusted people. With the spoils system, he created the Kitchen's Cabinet. Kitchen's Cabinet was Jackson's most trusted people that met in the cabinet. He didn't care about the presidential cabinet. Of course, if he had people who he could talk about in the presidency, well, that meant that he could do whatever he wanted. The second thing he did was South Carolina wanting to leave the Union. It wasn't anything that he did, but it was happening while he was in presidency. And what was happening is that South Carolina was pissed off at the fact that they couldn't buy things from Europe or sell things to Europe or other countries. They just had to buy from the North. And South Carolina created a notification act, which meant that they wanted to leave for the country. But Andrew Jackson got South Carolina to come back and eliminate the notification act, of course in his way, which meant kind of violence. The third thing he did was acquire more land. The way he did this was he didn't like Indians at all. He hated them due to the British in the War of 1812. So what he did, he took the Indians out with an Indian Removal Act, a treaty, to get some of them to leave voluntarily. Most of them didn't leave, so they went to the Trail of Tears. They were forced down to Oklahoma to live there, thanks to him. The last thing he did, he had issues with Bank of U.S. The president of the Bank of U.S. at that time was Nicholas Biddle. They had issues, and Biddle always supported against him. But then what he got to do was that he took all of the money out of the Bank of U.S. and put it into small banks. That made the Bank of U.S. go down. They basically destroyed it, and later on, in Martin Van Buren's presidency, it led to consequences of recession. Well, That thing is his impact. He was the first of many things. He was first congressman in Tennessee, the first Democrat Republican, but he was always the first to do corruption. And I don't like that. I think actually he was a bad president for the things he did, and it made him absolutely a non-common self-made man. Thank you for listening to my speech, and I hope you like it.